A very warm welcome, everybody. It is time for Ultimate Pool Extra. It's been another very busy week in the Ultimate Pool world, and joining me as ever to help talk through what has happened and what is going to happen over the next week or so is Scott Ryan. Scott, great to have you on the show again. How's your week been? I know it's been pretty busy with Ultimate Pool experiences as well as keeping up to date with everything going on in the Ultimate Pool world.
Well, yeah, I mean it's cold outside, but it's been heating up in the Pairs Cup over the last week. We're finally coming to the business end of the tournament, which is unbelievable. An interesting week in the Masters, certainly, which obviously we'll get to shortly. And yeah, been on the road with Ultimate Pool Exhibitions this week. Visited, with Chris Melling and Michael Hill, which is just an unbelievable time just to see these guys up close and just actually see how good they are when there's a little bit of pressure off. So yeah, an unbelievable week in Ultimate Pool.
I mean, how cool is that? Getting to see Chris Melling and Mick Hill up close and personal when there's no pressure on. It really is an absolute treat. I mean, I'm jealous of you, really. That must be a thrill for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of the best thing for me was kind of just seeing how many people are just excited to see these players up close, and in particular, just how much they're in love with Ultimate Pool and kind of what's going on in the world of Ultimate Pool. So yeah, I mean, I've seen. You're seeing kids at these events, which is absolutely incredible to see. Actually, a massive shout out to Cameron Tolley's grandson. They call him Little Cam, and he's 10 years old, and he had literally just qualified for England yesterday afternoon, and he had
Wow.
literally rushed back to this exhibition at the ex-service club in Wisbech, which was an absolutely incredible venue. So the youngsters got straight into the venue. He's had a standing ovation from everybody because he's qualified for England. And I said, listen, mate, do you want to take a couple of minutes before you play Mick? His top was off. He was ready to play. And what an incredible talent he is. And I'm really looking forward to seeing where he goes in the future. But kind of from that perspective, that's the big thrill, is kind of seeing the youngsters at these events who are really keen to see their heroes in action.
That's really cool. Look forward to seeing his progress. I'd love to see him on the show at some point in the next few years. Did you get your cue out at all? I know when you went to a Gareth Potts, when you managed to get a frame. Did you get a frame at all?
Listen, I didn't bother to get the cue out. Look, I didn't want to damage these guys' confidence by having a game. But what I will say, Simon, is Daventry's coming up, and I'm really hoping you're going to take your cue with you, and maybe we get to settle our differences on the bays in Daventry.
Yeah, I had a knock this week, so I'm warming up for you. I know you want to have a little practice, a little game, so I've been practicing for it, but I can't wait. Let's bring it on. Enough of our games because they're not worth talking about. Let's get on with the show. And joining us this week is a man that's been doing really good stuff this week in the Pairs Cup. Dylan Leary joins us. And first of all, Dylan, congratulations on coming through in the Pairs Cup. Great to have you on the show. First time on the show for you as well, and it's great to finally get you on.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. First time, a bit nervous, but we'll see how it goes.
Oh, no need to be nervous. You're only talking to me and Scott. Before we do get into the Pairs Cup, I want to talk to you about the World Championships and the fact that you played in the Northern Irish team that looked like it had so much spirit, so much fun, and you managed to take down the World Team Shootout, which for me was one of my favourite tournaments I've ever been involved in. From a player's perspective, how much did you enjoy Ireland?
Oh, it was fantastic. The group of lads that I played with are, superb. Always cheering you on and getting behind you. And to win that one frame shootout was brilliant. It's the first time I've been in a winning team with Northern Ireland, but with the likes of Decky and Ronan, and, all of them getting together for this that event was fantastic. I mean, the standard was brilliant. And to take it down was the icing on the cake.
obviously very close to the World Team Championship as well, and also the pairs, the doubles with Callum, who for me had the moment of the tournament in the shootout when he looked at his watch. But you also got to play in a major final with him. He's a real talent, isn't he?
Oh, he's superb. He's so ice cool, and a pleasure to play with. Yeah, and the joking aside, in the Northern Ireland group, they're saying that we should have paired up in the Pairs Cup, but he's got a partner, and so have I. So, but you never know. You never know what might happen next year.
Well, yeah, it could be some changing around, because you had some changing around. Let's get into the Pairs Cup. You were due to be playing with Eddie Barker, who unfortunately was ill, and then you ended up playing with Matt Cook, and you managed to come through that group. Before we talk about it, have you spoken to Eddie? How's he feeling now? Because I know he's been ill for a week or two.
I did speak to him. I thought he was on the mend, and I spoke to him a couple of days ago, and he's still no better. He's which is a bit worrying, because it's like been almost 2 months now. That was because it was before Ireland that he was ill, and he battled through Ireland. He only got out of bed to play his matches. So yeah, worrying times for Eddie, because it's not like him to be this, well, for anybody to be this ill this long. So I wish him all the best, and hopefully he'll be back soon. He's got a couple of tournaments coming up. So Matt Cook stepped in on this place, and I think we played really well together, complemented each other.
I thought you played great together. I mean, Scott, I know that you're very happy they played well together because you had them picked in our little battle. But it looked considering how tight a group it looked on paper, it looked fairly comfortable to watch.
Well, it wasn't. Oh, sorry.
Go on, Dylan.
Yeah, no, I mean, it wasn't as easy as it looked. The first game was very tight, and the second game was, the big game. And once we won that, we felt we could just, just play our natural games in the last game. It was, still a tough game to, still got to win it, but the pressure was off. We've done the hard work, if you like. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like they gelled though, Scott. The way on coming off of, I know you were sat at home watching and obviously cheering them on, but from the commentary box, it just felt like it was always kind of going one way, really.
Yeah, and you could kind of see that they were close as a team just by the way the conversations were happening. They were offering good advice. When something didn't go according to plan, it didn't look like they were flustered at all. I'm just going to remind you here, Simon, you had first pick and you did not pick this unbelievable team. And I told you that was going to be my pick from the start. So you should be a little bit embarrassed,
I am a little bit. If you go back and watch the tape, though, Scott, you could tell I'd all but made my decision to go with Dylan and Matt. And at the last minute, I can't even tell you why. At the last minute, I decided to change my mind. And obviously, it's cost me. So, never mind.
Well, Dylan's always been a class act, and there's absolutely no doubt about that. Strong fundamentals, snooker background. Anybody who knows anything about the game knows that Dylan's a quality operator. Less people will know who Matt Cook is, but those who do know who Matt Cook is knows that he is an incredible player in his own right. So they were always going to be my pick as soon as I saw that pairing. So listen, Simon, maybe, I don't know, go back, do a little bit of research, have a look at a bit of footage, watch some of these players, and you might make some decent picks.
Well, just to defend myself a fraction, I always knew that Dylan was going to play well, and I always knew that Fitzy was going to go well. I just thought that Connor was going to come in, and it was going to be a stage that he was going to thrive on. And he didn't have his best night. I've seen Connor play a lot better than that. But that was the first time he's actually played on live TV rather than just a stream. I'm not sure if that played a part in it or not. But what we do know is that Dylan, you and Matt, seemed, I know that you're good friends, but you seemed to gel really well. The way you communicated during frames, which was highlighted in, you said that you went into your last match, obviously slightly strange pressure because you know that if you win, you're through, but you've almost got something to lose. But you gelled really well. You made a great finish, which we're going to show you now in that opening frame of that final match. But what I liked is the way you communicated and talked to each other. You worked through all your, all the different things you could do and come up with a really clean finish.
Yeah. Beforehand, we did say I was going to suggest shots, but you must be 100% on the shot that you're going to play. You're the one making the shot. So if you don't fancy it, just play your shot, and it worked quite well.
Yeah, I mean, it's something you did all the way through the night. You can see you sort of talking there about your selection and what you're going to do. But you did very rare. I can't remember any frames that you sort of took on and you didn't take out between you, whether that was a Scotch frame or an individual frame.
That's right. I think it was only the last frame where I snookered on the black, but
yeah,
he said he wanted to be on the special reel that you do, but he didn't pull it off.
Well, we know you're pushing for you're pushing yourself on social media as well. So I thought you were trying to get one on the TikTok yourself.
Yeah, unfortunately not though.
So tell us about this finish. I mean, or not just this finish. Tell us about this match. So you obviously got yourself into a position where a win in this match and you're through, a draw and you're in a 6 red, but a loss and you're potentially in trouble. Is it a strange, like? I've seen other people in this position and they talk about how it's a strange pressure compared to a normal frame of pull where, it's you play straight knockouts all the time, but there's almost, you've got something to lose and something to protect.
Yeah. Well, in this particular clearance here, this is the first frame and the black is no guarantee I'm getting on the black because that red's awkward. And you'll see in a minute that we played for the double and we played 3 doubles that night that all went in, and if we missed those doubles, we may not have got through at vital times. There
was one in the first frame of the night, wasn't there? So the first frame of the first match, you make a double in the opening frame, got you going in that one. I know it ended up in a draw, but if that double doesn't go in, you could lose that match, and all of a sudden, you could be on the wrong end of it.
That's it. That's absolutely right. Well, every frame's massive in these short races, so you just can't afford to miss a black. So yeah, just say I just overscrewed it by about an inch. You've just got to top through and put it in the opposite corner, but I've gone too far. So we have to now take our medicine and just settle for the double. And fortunately for us, it went in, and that set the tone for the match, because I think it's a totally different match if we don't get the double, because they'll probably win the frame, and the pressure's on us now where we're playing catch up. So this shot, Matt's left it pretty decent for me. When
you left him there, did you just straight away say, just leave me the double, don't try and do anything too much?
No, I actually asked him to top it through off one cushion and sort of check it back to the same middle. He goes, no, don't fancy it. I said, well, just leave the double. and that's how we communicated. If he didn't fancy doing a shot, I'd rather him didn't do it. And he agreed. Same. He suggested shots to me. If I didn't fancy it, I'd play my shot. And we sort of agreed on it, and it worked perfectly that night. Yeah, as soon as that left my tip, I knew that was in, so that was nice.
Yeah, you must be really pleased with the way that not just yourself played. Obviously, you know that you've been playing some good stuff, and that's a stage you're used to. But for Matt, he's not been out there as much. Okay, he's had a little taste of it in the Challenger Series. So how pleased are you the way that Matt went as well? Because he played every bit of a part of it as much as you did.
Oh yeah, absolutely, massive. I knew he would hold himself together. He plays at our club. He plays in our Maidenhead team, and he's a class act. He's good under pressure. He's knocking on the door of the Pro Series. He's 16th in the Challenger. So with a half decent weekend on the last one, hopefully he'll get his pro ticket.
Yeah, he certainly got close, didn't he, to his first title this year, and he's knocking on that door of the Pro Series. He'd be a great addition to the Pro Series as well, because every time we've seen him play, he's looked really good. But overall, Scott, the pair that played the best on the night came through, but the pair that I picked in Simon Fitzsimmons and Connor Jones, what were your thoughts on the way those two went?
Well, we'd seen Connor in the Players' Championship, and he played some outstanding stuff, and he looked absolutely terrific. He's just had an off night. Don't read too much into that if you're Connor Jones. It can happen to anybody. Simon played some outstanding stuff. You talk about TikTok reel stuff. He had several shots that may well find their way on TikTok. Listen, there's absolutely no doubt about this. Dylan's hit the nail on the head. as good as Dylan is, you do need a quality operator alongside you in this format, and Matt was quality. And as Dylan alluded to, his nerve, his experience, he's got everything, and that's kind of a big ticket item when you're playing out under the bright lights. So a massive well done to that pairing, because they thoroughly deserve to go through.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said, Scott. And what we do know is that you're through to the second stage of the competition. And we're 16 weeks in, and we've seen some great pairings. We've seen some great nights. I think the whole dynamic of the whole tournament changes right now, because we're going 4 more weeks of the second stage before our finals night, the last Monday before Christmas. Let's run through the 4 groups that we've got, because they are very exciting groups indeed. Starting with Group 1. This is coming up this Monday at 6:30 on Ultimate Pool TV and Viaplay. Last year's defending champion, Sean Chipperfield and Carl Sutton, they are back. And as is Declan Brennan and Ronan McCarthy, who were the runners-up by a fraction of a second last year. Josh Kane and John McAllister, who are a very dangerous partnership. And then the local boys, Jimmy Croxton and Liam White. I mean, that's an unbelievable opening week of the second stage. For me, probably the group of the round, if you like. Pretty impressive, Scott.
It is. It's a pick 'em group, and we've got to try and pick one, a winner of the group, when, quite frankly, one of 4 could win that group. It's going to be interesting. The Carl Sutton, Sean Chipperfield combination. Now, I'm a huge Sean Chipperfield fan. He's a player that I absolutely love to watch, but he had a really poor World Championships. You know, he was beaten very early in both events. So I'm curious to see kind of how he adapts that. I'm not sure how much he's been playing. Carl, always a quality. You know, he's a quality operator. Then you've got the pairing with arguably the player in the form, in the best form in the world, in Ronan McCarthy and Declan Brennan. It's the whole group. I could make an argument for all 4. For all 4 pairings. It's difficult, but from a viewing perspective, it's going to be incredible, because it's very difficult to predict which way it's going to go.
Yeah, we'll come back. We'll have our picks for that group in a minute. Let's just run through the other groups. Let's take a look at Group 2. Chris Day and Sean Story, good mates, very good players. Carl Boys and Jake McCartney, they were fantastic when they came through. Greg Batten and Jez Graham, and then Christy Caulfield and Connor Tracy are one of my favourite pairings coming through the first stage of the competition. And then we'll move on to Group 3, and this is the one where you'll be in, Dylan, with your partner Matt. Gareth Potts and Mark Selby, Andy Blurton and Neil Raybone, Scott Gillespie and Jamie Burnett. I mean, Dylan, what do you make of your draw for the second stage?
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, I can't wait. Actually, I was with Matt today. We played Interleague, hence the top. We spoke about it, and we just can't wait. We just can't wait for 2 weeks to come. We're going to have a couple of practice sessions with players from the club to sort of get us more comfortable with the 6 red shootout, possibly. Just be a little bit more prepared, because like Monday was only sort of, we had 5 days to sort of prepare for it, and we didn't actually meet up. So Selby, Potts, superb. I mean, they all are. I mean, Gillespie and I used to play snooker against Jamie Burnett when 20 odd years ago up at Blackpool.
That's cool.
So I haven't seen him since then, probably. And Neil Raybone and Andy Blurton, another 2 quality players. So, I can't wait. I really can't wait. So
Andy and Neil, they lost 4-0 in their first match, and they managed to come through via that 6 red shootout. So I mean, sometimes when you get away with one like they did, who knows? I mean, they could be very, very dangerous. But yeah, it's another cracking group that we've got to look forward to, and obviously, Gareth Potts and Mark Selby will take some headlines, but all 4 pairs in that group should be great value and entertaining. One more group to show you then, Group 4 of the Pairs Cup. And it looks like this. Craig Waddingham and Arfan Dad, who were very good last year, and they've been very good this year. Then you've got Darren Appleton with King Pitching, Chris Patient, who was fantastic in the first stage. And then we've got hashtag John Lewis, John Rowe and Lewis Roberts. And then Vivek and Vic Mack complete the lineup for Group 4. So overall, we've got 4 great groups to look forward to over the next 4 weeks before we get to our finals night. And Scott, one thing to do before we have our pick on this coming week, and that's just to update the scores. Congratulations, you do manage to get one on the board. You get back within 1. You're still behind, importantly, so it's still you in the hot seat for a very cold swim in the ocean.
Yeah, but having said that, I was 4 behind about a week and a half ago. So listen, this is no danger for me. What I want to do is actually just lure you into a false sense of security. So you'll be there thinking that you're all going to be warm in December, and I'll be the one who's watching you. Are you going to run into the sea? I'd suggest running in.
Yeah, well, for those of you, Dylan, I don't know if you know this, but for those that are listening or watching and you don't know this, that our picking battle, which has been going all season long, whoever loses it come the end of the Pro Series, which is only 3 weeks away now, has to go for a swim in the ocean in December up in Blackpool. It will be horrible. And yeah, I'm with you, Scott. If I do lose, and that's a big if, I think you have to just go full pelt and sprint in, because you can't walk in, can you?
You cannot walk in. You're going to have to run, Simon.
Is it naked or are you fully clothed?
I hope not.
No. Yeah, I hope not as well. I don't think the world wants to see that, Simon, do they?
No. Apparently, there's some nice Ultimate Pool Speedos on their way, aren't they? So we'll
yes, for you.
Something. Okay, enough of us in our Speedos. Let's have our pick for this week's pairs. So let's have another quick look at this week's group. We've already run through it, but let's have another look at Group 1. For me, this is the toughest group to call. I think they're all brutal to call, but this one's really, really tough. I'm actually quite pleased, Scott. You get first pick in this week's group. So talk to me about it. What are you thinking?
Well, as I said, Sean Chipperfield had a disappointing World Championships by his own high standard. You know, he is a player that I really enjoy watching. He plays the game the way I like to watch it played. So kind of I would be hoping for something for him. But one thing, having Cole Sutton as your partner, he's a great assist, and those two obviously we've seen already are a great partnership. In terms of Ronan and Declan, you've obviously got the form player in Paul at the moment in Ronan McCarthy, but is the fairy tale about to come to an end? I'll never forget. Well, Ronan will never forget Declan's chicken wing in the 6-red shootout against Cole and Sean. But Josh and John, again, another, a great young pairing, but they haven't. I don't think they've ever hit top gear as a doubles partnership. And finally, Jimmy Croxton and Liam White. This kind of feels like a moment on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, where I'm looking at the answers and all 4 could be correct. I don't have the option to phone a friend, so I am going to back Chipperfield and Sutton to go through. Like I say, it's just the fact that they've been a partnership for a long time, have won it, and always seem to get the job done.
Yeah, good. You can't argue. They're the defending champions, so a good pick. I think I agree with everything you said about the players there. I would say I would just give the edge of the outsiders of the group in terms of Jimmy Croxton and Liam White. I wouldn't say it's a surprise if they come through, but for me, they're the outsiders of the 4, but it's very, very tight. I do like the John McAllister, Josh Kane partnership, but I don't think Josh is in the form. We haven't seen him play well with Ultimate Pool for a while now. We've seen the odd match, but we haven't seen him produce as goods, and we haven't seen enough of John McAllister. I hope we get to see more of him because he is a fantastic player to watch. So for me, it was always going to be between the 2 finalists from last year. You've gone for the winners. I'm going to go for the runners-up. I'm going to go for the Northern Irish pairing. I'm going to go for Decky, and I'm going to go for Ronan to continue his magical run. Dylan, normally I'd ask our guests to have a pick, but you are in the competition, so feel free to turn it down. But, what are you expecting to see happen this week?
Well, I wouldn't back against the Northern Ireland guys. They're 2 quality players. But I have a funny feeling with Jimmy and Liam.
Yeah.
Because they're local lads. They play at the club. I'll go for them.
Yeah, and a good point there, because the local lads, they're going to probably have more support there than anybody else, but also because
Yeah,
I think a lot of people like me might say they are probably just about the outsiders of the group, although it's very tight. Maybe that goes
yeah,
in. There's no external pressure on them. They can go in there and just express themselves.
yeah. It's a free shot at it, and they'll be fresher. I mean, like the Northern Ireland lads have got to obviously travel over. Chippy and Sutton have got to travel all the way from um, was it Norfolk
Yeah,
Way. So I just think they'll be fresher and there'll be more, more support. I think might make the difference.
yeah.
Not that
No.
anybody would, support against the other guys, but family and friends will turn up. I think it could be the difference.
Well, we will find out on Monday at 6:30 on Viaplay and Ultimate Pool TV. I cannot wait for that one. Right, let's move on. This week, or within the last week or so, Ultimate Pool have announced the plans for 2023. We now know there's going to be 96 professionals, of which we are getting a whole host of wildcards being announced. We'll update you with some of the wildcards a little bit later on in the show. But what I want to do now is, we've been told that the big seedings for next year, we always thought it'd be top 16, and getting inside the top 16 would be huge. We're now told it's top 28. So it'll be the top 28 will be seeded through the first round, then everybody else will play each other to get through to where the top 28 are. And there'll be 4 players who will be selected from the wildcards to take the remaining 4 seeded spots. And the reason I bring that up, Dylan, is because you right now, when we take a look at the rankings, are currently in the hot seat. You're 28th in the rankings. Your take on the news that we heard recently about it now being the top 28?
Oh yeah, that's good news. I mean, the old system was, well, I thought was pretty unfair or top heavy. That you had to win so many matches to break into the top 16. I would say it was virtually impossible. But this way, I think it's a fairer game for everybody. So going to the last tournament now, I know I've got to probably win at least two matches to secure it. But obviously, I'm looking to win more than that. Hopefully, I'm playing well. So we just have to see how it goes.
Your take on it, Scott? I mean, are you a fan of this new system?
I prefer it to the 16, if I'm being brutally honest. It did feel like the 16 was pretty much, as Dylan's just alluded to, it was very hard to break into. So with the 28, totally makes it look a lot better on paper. And it's just interesting next season, because you're going to have to play so well. If you're outside that 28, you're going to have to put some mileage in to make it to the top. So for some of these wild cards coming in, as good as they are, it's going to be very difficult for them initially at Ultimate Pool.
I'm a massive fan of the news that we've heard over the last week or so, because we didn't know exactly what was planned. Nothing was agreed or announced, but we were hearing whispers that the top 16 might be fairly well protected. And now that we're hearing its top 28 are getting protected for one round. So there's 96 professionals, top 28, 4 wildcards, 32 players will be seeded. That means everybody else has to win one match to join them. And that, to me, seems to be about right. If you are in that top 32, especially if you've earned it inside the top 28, then you get the rewards for that, and you just get to start one round closer. Huge fan of that. But also, I like the fact that it feels more achievable. If you're a new pro coming in this year, if you're one of the challenges that's come up, or if you're one of the wild cards, top 28 or could be top 32 as we enter 2024, that seems achievable, whereas top 16 feels like it's a couple of years of hard graft to get there. Is that how you sort of feel about it as well, Dylan?
Yes, absolutely. With the old system, it's basically you were 20 matches behind the top 16 in the old system, and the new pros have been 30 matches, because to sort of achieve where the top 16 are going to be seeded. So absolutely over the moon with the change. I think it's like brought the game on. I think a lot of players are happier now. It's definitely going in the right direction anyway.
Yeah, and Scott, one last thing while we're talking about the rankings. Ronan McCarthy lost in the Players' Championship, got called back in because Mick Hill had COVID and had to pull out the competition, which I'm all for. That felt right. It's the modern world. It's the way we are now. but he got the ranking points for winning that tournament. I mean, and that's a controversial thing because he's jumped right from the fringes. He was in the mid late 20s, right around you, Dylan, and he's now inside the top 10. I mean, that's a huge change.
Are you talking to me, Simon? Are you putting me on
Yeah,
the
I am.
spot?
Yeah, I'm putting you on the spot.
Put me on the spot. I don't mind. I'll be brutally honest about it. I don't think he should have got the ranking points. That's my honest opinion, because for me, it was good that he, I understand that he was brought back into the tournament, but I would feel really hard done by if I was somebody who was guaranteed a spot on the rankings and now all of a sudden, and listen, this isn't a slight on Ronan at all, because Ronan didn't make that decision, by the way. Let me just say that. But for me, I'm not a fan of that. I don't think that the ranking points should have been given to Ronan. The prize money was enough. To give him the ranking points is kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of rubbing the salt into wounds of people who had ranking points and were ahead of the curve. I'm probably going to get shot for saying that, but I've got to be brutally honest with it. I think it's a poor decision to have given the ranking points.
Dylan, as a player, I'd love to ask you. Feel free to tell me where to go, but how do you feel about that?
No, I agree with Scott. He's had his go in the tournament. He's been knocked out. He's got, he's had a free go to win the money. He's won the money, but to give him the ranking points, he was 50 points in front of me. He was 27th, so I was right next door to him. Now he's a tournament in front of me, almost impossible to catch. I don't think the points should have been given. He's and it's nothing to do with. I've got nothing against Ronan, and I was over the moon when he won the tournament. And fair play, but given the points as well, I think was I just think it was a mistake. I don't agree with it myself, but I don't run the tournament, so you have to go with it, I'm afraid.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess there will be strong opinions on that one way or another. But that's for sure. And one thing I do with Ultimate Pool, they do look at these sorts of things, and who knows in the future that maybe they may go another way on it. It's one of the things I'm a big fan of with Ultimate Pool is that they will look at things and will change it if they feel they need to. So be interesting to see if the same thing happens again in the future, whether the same thing happens. Okay, enough of the rankings. That's for 2023, which we're looking forward to. And of course, it will be a big story when we get up to the Pro Series, which we will do a preview show of in a couple of weeks' time. Time for us, though, to move on to the Masters. A very good week this week for Cole Bedford. He came through via a deciding frame over the buzzer, Brian Halcrow. Brilliant match, actually. One of the best matches we've had in the Masters. Went all the way down to the wire. Cole had a couple of frame lead getting to 7, but Brian came back strong. And actually, Brian had a great chance in that final frame. Scott, I know. Obviously, I'm happy because I picked Cole this week, but I don't know how much you got to see because you were at the at one of the Ultimate Pool experiences. But our two players were going head to head, but it was a cracking match.
I caught up with it, and listen, I caught up with it the next day. Oh, I was one dodgy piece of queuing away from drawing level, if I'm being honest. But listen, it played out pretty much as we anticipated. So we spoke about the fact that at times, and I love Cole Bedford to pieces, he's one of the nicest guys I know on tour, about sometimes his temperament being an issue. And it very nearly did come back to haunt him in that deciding frame. Because make no mistake about it, Brian's an honest and a pragmatic guy. He'll tell you he should have taken that. He should have taken his chance at the end. Unfortunately, he didn't. But a massive congratulations to Cole Bedford. He is a real character. He is a real character. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He was absolutely delighted, and I hope he did find his nightclub he was looking for in Stoke after the evening.
Well, let's show you the deciding frame, and Scott, as you pick Brian, you might want to look away in a couple of minutes' time when we get through to the final ball that he misses. But Dylan, I want to ask you. I mean, you've played many matches. You've been in this sort of situation. How tough is it to hold yourself together when you put in such a hard night's work to get down to this stage, and then you get handed an opportunity? You got to hold yourself together.
Yeah, I mean, this is what you train yourself for, and you just hope that you've done enough, and the experience that you've gained along the way, helps you through, and it changes from match to match. I didn't actually see this match, so
Well, you,
yeah. Sorry.
I was going to say, you'll enjoy the clip. You'll enjoy this frame then, because it's a great frame. It's a great way to climax the match. You
Yeah.
have to say on the night as a whole, it felt like Cole was playing the better pool. But I'm really pleased for Brian, even though he didn't get through. I'm really pleased with the fact that he put on a performance like he did. One shot aside, the shot towards the end that we're going to see in a minute, he played. That's as good a match as I've seen him play for a long, long time. And he didn't play that great in his first match of the night. And I'm really pleased for him that at least he found something here. I hope he can go into the Pro Series at the end of the year with a bit of confidence from this. Maybe not the shot coming up in a couple of shots' time, though.
I'm not far away from hiding my eye, Simon.
I know. And you can see Cole. You can see Cole sat in his chair. He thinks the match is over here. He's frustrated because you can see him drops his towel. He's in bits there because he had his chance to win, and he knows it. And this is the one to look away from, Scott.
2 big shots away from a massive win for Brian Halcrow. You must say he's dug in this match.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Dylan, as a player, just decelled, come across it. I think he was caught in two minds, really. He probably should have just pumped it in and just played it real firm, but he decided to roll it and made a mess of it.
Yeah, he's been playing well, Brian. I've actually drawn him in one of the last event, so he can keep that up until next year. But no, he has been playing quite well of late. Because the first season he struggled a bit, but he's found his feet now, and he's winning a lot more matches. So I'm not sure where his ranking is at the moment, but he had a second chance then.
He had a second chance as well.
Yeah.
His ranking, he is currently. I've got the list right in front of me now. Why can't I see him? 34th he is at the moment. So he's got
a chance
about. He's about a quarter final behind you. So he's got a bit of work to do to get into that top 28. But whilst because Cole clears up from here, so whilst Cole goes about this clearance, which we'll see it through. Let me ask you about the Masters, Dylan. You're playing in the Masters. It's a while away before you. Actually, it's coming around quicker than I thought. Do you know who you're playing against? Because it's an interesting group.
I've got Amy Beaucamp and Eddie Barker if he's fit. But he's got. I think it's either Neil Tom's lad. Is it Adam Toms?
Adam, yeah.
He is, yeah.
Isn't that amazing though? There's the amount of players in this competition, and you and Eddie get drawn in the same group.
That's right. Yeah, we did say that, and we were drawn to play each other first until they seeded the group. I think where the pros didn't play until the final game, which is a better way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Your match against Amy should be fascinating, though. Obviously, she's 4 times a world champion in the women's game. She certainly you can't take her lightly. She's got plenty of game.
I know. I've seen Amy play, and she's a handful. I mean, the other week in the pairs, I think her and Emma played really well, and they beat Mick and Phil, didn't they? So they took them out of the tournament. So I won't be taking her lightly. No chance.
Yeah, she's got a cracking break and a huge amount of games. So really looking forward to seeing you play, Amy. That is on the 14th of December. So it's before Christmas, only a couple of weeks away. You'll know by then whether you're in the top 28 or not as well. So you might be playing with a huge amount of confidence or, there we go. Fingers crossed. Absolutely. Okay, so the Masters, I managed to get that one right, Scott. So I was 2 ahead at the start of the night. You got one back, but I am now back 2 ahead, as we can confirm here. 24-22. You are running out of days, mate. You really are running out of days. Are you worried yet?
No. I've always been a slow starter, Simon, and I finished well at the end, so I'm okay.
Yeah, well, you're very slow. You are running out of weeks, though. You only got 3 weeks left. Let's see what the group is this week, then see what we're picking on this week's Masters. And Ronan McCarthy seems to be in everything at the moment. He played in a tournament in Northern Ireland this week and went really well as well. His winning run continues, and he plays this week in the Masters. Aaron Joseph, Christy Caulfield, and Alex Bailey complete the lineup. Ronan will be playing against Aaron Joseph, and Christy will play Alex Bailey. Correct me if I'm wrong, Scott. Me to go first.
Yeah, I know how you're going to go anyway, so that's fine. Do you want me to just to tell you where I'm going to go after you've picked your one?
Yeah, go on then. You know where I'm going. Go for it.
Well, you're going Ronan McCarthy, aren't you?
Of course not. How can I not pick the man in form? He's the world champion. He's the players' champion.
I'm going Christy Caulfield.
Okay, that was quick.
Simple.
I actually, I wouldn't have minded having second pick here because I think Christy Caulfield is. I think he's so good. I don't think he realizes quite how good he is.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah, amazing playing, amazing talent. Look forward to seeing that one though on Wednesday on Ultimate Pool TV.
I've just thought about this. You've gone double Ronan, haven't you?
Yeah.
You've put all your money on Ronan.
Ooh, I hope he has a good week.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Well, I actually thought you were going to pick Ronan and Decky in the pairs, and I was, umming and ahhing about a couple of partnerships myself, but you kind of forced me into it. So Ronan's going to keep it going. I mean, why not? He's winning everything else. Why not continue his fine run? Because he's also got
timing.
It is, but he's also got the seniors mini series coming up in a week or so, which you'll be playing in that, Dylan, as well.
That's it. Yeah, I'm up there. He beat me in the last one, the toe rag. So revenge will be hopefully on the cards.
I actually think that the match he had against you can almost mark that down as the moment his season changed. I'd like
to think I helped him out. Yeah, I helped him out.
You've just been a good teammate.
Yeah, well, one for the team, innit?
Absolutely, definitely. It certainly helped in the World Team Shootout in Ireland for you guys. Right, I said a couple of minutes ago that there's been an awful lot of wild cards that have been announced. We already knew about Mark Williams, we knew about Mark Allen and Ryan Day, the World Snooker Stars, and we knew about Ian Alley, who's one of the challengers. All four of those have already been announced, but Ultimate Pool announced 4 more players this week, and we are going to run through them now. We have got another Frenchman joining the tour. Yannick Beaufils is joining the tour. Scott, what do we make of this one?
I was absolutely buzzing to see this one. Those who know that I'm a bit of a pool geek / historian from Yannick Beaufils is just, he was a player that I used to really love watching. And recently he's been in great form. I've never seen him live, so I'm really looking forward to seeing him up close and just seeing how good he is in the flesh. Terrific player. And it's great to have another player, another international player at Ultimate Pool.
Yeah, we've said this many times with Christophe Lambert. The game in France is huge, and Christophe is right at the forefront of that, but so is Yannick. The two of them I wouldn't say they're carrying the French game worldwide because there's so many great French players, but they are both two of the leading French players. So it's great to see Yannick join the tour. He is the Black Ball World Champion as well. He made the World Masters final, losing out to Ronan McCarthy. I think we could see him hit the ground running with Ultimate Pool. I guess one of the question marks will be how can he cope with 30 seconds a shot and 15 seconds a shot. Looking forward to finding out on that. I also think this could help Christophe in a strange way as well. He's not, if there was any pressure about sort of carrying French hopes, that is now spread as well. I mean, Dylan, what do you make of Yannick joining you guys next year?
Yeah, I was surprised he wasn't on from the start, to be fair. He's a quality player, and watching him at the Worlds, he hits the ball so sweet. So absolute brilliant addition. Yeah, I think he'll do well.
Yeah, I really do. I think he could really go well. I mean, he's certainly going to be a danger for any event that he actually plays in. Right, second wild card is an Irishman. Carl O'Donoghue joins the tour. Great player. He's he's been an Irish champion. He's done plenty of things for Ireland itself. It's going to be great to see him come over and actually see what he can do on the Ultimate Pool stage. I mean, great addition, Scott?
He's a fantastic player. He's kind of just disappeared for a while. Not seen much of him for a while. But for those who kind of know his worth, he's a very good money player back in the day, all around quality operator. He will do damage on Ultimate Pool. Absolutely no doubt about it.
Dylan, am I right in thinking that there was a while, a few years ago, there was a lot of people around sort of saying, he probably is the best player in Ireland. Now there's quite a few players that can sort of maybe put their name in the hat for that accolade, but he's certainly one of those.
He's definitely one. He's up there with Dempsey, Decky, and Ronan. He won the All Irelands one year. I was over there, and I played him in the tour event semi-final, and it was just an animal. It's just a brand of pool that I've never seen before. He was playing doubles, trebles, doubles off of balls. It was like I've never seen anybody play pool like that before. And if he can produce that form again, what he did in 2018, wow, you've got such a talent on your hands there. So no doubt he'd be putting the practice in for next season, and let's see. I think he'd be good.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a lot of fun. Can't wait to see him play with Ultimate Pool in 2023. Another one we had announced this week is Wade Morley. He comes in. He's been a pro on another tour. He now comes in and he joins Ultimate Pool. What do we think of this one, Scott?
It's going to be interesting to see how Wade performs on the Ultimate Pool stage. As you've said, he's been a pro on another organisation, albeit the strength in the other organisation is not as strong as Ultimate Pool. So it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, he's had some great results across at the other organisation. So it's going to be really interesting to see how he fits into what looks every day, every time they announce another wild card, starting to look more and more like a Shark Tank every day. So it's going to be interesting to see how Wade performs under that pressure.
Yeah, I think this is a great challenge for Wade. I'm really looking forward to seeing how he gets on. I think he definitely, every time we see him play, we've seen him play with Ultimate Pool a couple of times, and every time I speak to him about it, he wants to improve, he wants to get better, he wants to push himself, he wants to challenge himself against the best players in the world, and he now has that stage to do it on. So it's now on him to kind of put the work in and see how he gets on. But as you said, Scott, I mean, it is a Shark Tank, and it's going to be a tough one. But I mean, it's tough for everybody. Okay, right. We've got one more wild card announced this week, and it's another Aussie. We're going to have someone joining Jake McCartney, and it is Paul Clack. Great to have another Aussie on board. This game is so worldwide. And obviously no further away for us here in the UK than Australia. So great to have Paul joining the tour. I think, Scott, it's just great to have more and more players worldwide. We want to see more and more players from lots and lots of different countries.
It's always been a weird thing with 8-ball pool that kind of any other cue sport, people travel around the world to play, don't they? And fair play to Paul. He's coming all the way over from Australia. He's a really good player, very solid operator. I'm just curious whether Jake will take him on as his doubles partner next year.
Yeah, that'd be. He's got a good doubles partner this year. He may not want to change, especially they could go on and win it. Yeah, but yeah, Dylan, have you come across Paul or Wade before? Have you played either of them at all over the last few years?
I don't know too much about Wade. I haven't really played him. I haven't played him. I know I haven't played him. I've seen him from a distance. He seems a really nice lad, a decent player, but I don't know, the sort of standard that he plays at. Unfortunately, I know he's won a couple of money matches, but that's about it. In the Worlds, only one frame, the team event. Very solid. He seemed to have done all right. Again, I don't really, I don't know too much about the two of them, to be fair. So that's
Paul's been a big part of. Yeah, Paul's been a big part of the Aussie team for quite a while now. He's in his sort of mid-late 40s now. He's been around for a while. I guess the strength and depth in Australia is obviously they've got some great players there, but compared to what there is with Ultimate Pool, that's going to be the big challenge, I think, for Paul, is how can he adapt and deal with, because you're going to be going into those first rounds against, some unbelievable players, and it's how well you can cope with that. And obviously you've got the travelling and everything else to take into effect. But Jake McCartney hit the ground running. He won in his very first weekend, so he knows it can be done, and you can feed off that as a fellow Aussie as well. Looking forward to seeing all 4 of those players in action next year. And we do know there are plenty more wild cards to be announced. I think there's still something like 16 or 20 wild cards to actually be announced. I've lost track of the number. I think we've had 8. I'm not sure exactly how many we're getting, but there's quite a few still to come over the next 3 or 4 weeks. My understanding is we're going to know them all by the first week or 2 of December. So there'll be another few announced this week and each week going forward. I want to talk about Ultimate Pool coaching, Scott, something I know that you've been involved in a little bit, because there's a good coaching event coming up with Mick Hill. He's doing a coaching clinic in Darlaston. What's the date on that? On the 6th of December. And my understanding is there's still some tickets available, or some spots available if anyone wants to get involved in that. It is coaching at ultimatepoolgroup.com. But it's great to see Ultimate Pool trying to put a coaching section together and really trying to put that, because I don't think it's ever been done in the sport before, and it's great to see it.
No, I mean, listen, I mean, you can go and get coaching, and you'll get coaching on the fundamentals. You just go and visit a snooker coach normally, and they'll teach you how to hold the cue. But what they can't teach you is the nuances of the game. And certainly when I made the transition from snooker to pool, not that I've ever achieved a great standard at pool, let me just say that. The big thing that caught me out being a snooker player is I just thought I could pot all the balls. Whereas it took a while for me to learn the pattern, and they must go in a certain way. One thing I can say is at the podcast table that we have at events, I've been, really lucky to have a bit of time with Mick, and even spending 45 minutes with him talking about my game straight away made me understand it in just a totally different way that I'd never understood it before. You've got an opportunity to spend a day with the greatest, in my opinion, the greatest player to ever play 8-ball pool, and he's gonna try and give you some of the tools in order to improve your game. I think there are a few spots left, not many spots left, but it's going to be a cracking day. It's an all-day event, and I don't know. I mean, maybe I should buy a ticket, because I need to improve my game, Simon, I must say.
Yeah, unfortunately, you won't be able to improve it quick enough for our matchup at the mini series in a week's time. But maybe for future matchups with me, you can improve it for then. But joking aside,
Simon, if I'm too unwell to play, can Dylan play in my spot?
No,
Why not?
We'll postpone. No, we'll postpone. Oh. You can't substitute people in. But all joking aside, I mean, I think that obviously this is one of the things going on with the coaching. But the Ultimate Pool putting a lot of time and effort into the coaching. It's great to see. Dylan, have you ever? I know you come from a snooker background. Is that something that you ever, earlier on in your career, did you have help with?
I did. I had coaching off a snooker professional called Mike Darrington. So yeah, it's just teaching the fundamentals, and it just puts you in good stead for the journey that you take at snooker or pool. If you can line up correctly, and everything else falls into place. So yeah, it's definitely worth the time and money if you're going to do it.
Yeah, I know that when years ago when I was first getting into the game. I came, a bit like you, Scott, I came from a snooker background, and I wanted to understand why other players were making the game easy and I was struggling. I was like, I can pop balls and control the cue ball as well as anybody. Why can't I make these clearances? And I went and got some coaching. I got some help from a lot of people might know the name Jimmy Carney. He's still about now. Great player, but he's also a great coach, and he really helped me early in my pool career. I wouldn't have been anywhere near the player I was without going and seeking that help. So if you are looking for some coaching, some support in your game, then reach out to Ultimate Pool, because there's plenty more to come on that side of things. I can highly recommend it. Right, what else we got to talk about? Oh yeah, the Ultimate Pool shop. Dylan, have you been out and have you been checking out the shop yet? Have you managed to go and get any merch? from the shop?
I haven't. No,
You need to.
I've got to win some prize money first. So once I win some prize money, I'll take a trip down the shop.
Yeah, ultimatepoolshop.com, Dylan. That's where you need to go and get yourself a nice hoodie. Go and get yourself some swimming shorts, Scott. There's all sorts of stuff in there, including there is some town chalk in there as well for sale. So if you are looking for some chalk, highly recommend this. Go and get yourself some chalk from the Ultimate Pool Shop. But Scott, there's plenty more in there as well, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. I like the way Lewis Roberts and John Rowe were there with their fetching Ultimate Pool mugs. So I invested in one last week. I wanted to be like John Lewis.
Yeah, I hope they turn up with on the next pairs night with those mugs, because I want to see them continue it, because that was a lot of fun watching them playing the pairs with their mugs. But of course, you can go and get your mugs from the Ultimate Pool Shop. Dylan, Scott, thank you. It's been a lot of fun having you both on the show. Dylan, especially for you, first time on the show. Hopefully we'll see you back again soon. Best of luck in the mini-series coming up in a week or so's time, and when we see you again in the next few weeks in the pairs. And Scott, you better get yourself practicing, because we're going to have a little game in a week or so. We'll have to video it if we do play each other.
I intend to put no practice in. I will turn up au naturel and beat you without practice. I promise.
Well, that's something for everyone to look forward to. But thank you very much, guys. Make sure you tune in on Monday for the Pairs Cup. Second round starts, remember, and it's where it really builds up. All the action will be done by Christmas. So make sure you tune in on Monday at 6:30. And then, of course, we have got Ronan McCarthy in action in the Masters on Wednesday. Can he continue his form? You will find out if you watch ultimatepool.tv or the Ultimate Pool app on Wednesday night at 6:30. And, of course, Scott and myself and another guest or two will be back next week here on Ultimate Pool Extra. We'll see you then.